I'm Paul Cleary, Ecosystem Architect at Venafi. Thanks for joining me during this session. My hope is that after the next few minutes, you'll have a thorough understanding of how together Venafi and Citrix are helping organizations eliminate certificate-based outages using automation. First, I'll explain a bit about the current landscape of machine identity management. What are machine identities and how are they used inside the organization? Next, we'll learn what some of the biggest challenges are for application and security teams who are working together to make the organization more secure, and provide a modern example of how these challenges can be overcome with automation using Venafi's Trust Protection Platform and Citrix ADM Cloud. Finally, I'll tell you how you can test this integration out right now for free using your existing Citrix infrastructure. I'd like to spend a minute or two discussing how the industry is thinking about machine identity management. Gartner, the most widely respected technology analyst, believes that machine identity management is so important, they're recommending that every organization implements an enterprise-wide strategy to manage all the machine identities throughout the infrastructure. Secure machine-to-machine communication protects sensitive systems, data, and intellectual property. Keys and certificates are the foundation for securing commerce, keeping communication safe and private, and establishing trust between connected systems. TLS machine identities are the focus for this presentation, but we'll see in just a moment how the landscape continues to change at breakneck speeds. A recent report from Gartner indicated that organizations with more than 200 certificates need to invest in automation in order to protect themselves. But over half of enterprises manually track keys and certificates, and another quarter use homegrown solutions. These methods don't support the volume and velocity needed to keep pace with the explosive growth of machines, nor do they scale or provide the automation and remediation needed to quickly find and replace a compromised machine identity. Although organizations are beginning to understand the scope and severity of these problems, they have been slow to act. It's important that this machine identity strategy be truly enterprise-wide and not adapted and enforced in silos throughout the organization, because the consequences of getting it wrong can be so severe. Over the last few years, many of the highest profile breaches have involved mismanaged machine identities. In May to July of 2017, you had the Equifax data breach, where expired certificates disabled a network monitoring system and allowed attackers to harvest data. In December of 2018, we had expired software certificates on Ericsson equipment that shut down the entire O2 network in the UK and SoftBank network in Japan. Then more recently, in September of 2019, all the way to December of 2020, threat actors had poisoned the software development environment and pipelines of SolarWinds and multiple software vendors to gain access to their customers' networks. Keys and certificates are valuable commodities on the dark web. Digital certificates are being sold at up to $1,200 a piece. And this compares by one digital certificate is equal to 320 stolen credit cards. The good news is that Venafi has been helping our mutual customers solve machine identity management challenges for over 10 years. Here's how we view that space. There are two actors on every network. You have people and machines. People rely on usernames and passwords to get access to data and services, but machines also need to authenticate themselves to each other. However, they don't use usernames and passwords. Instead, they rely on keys and certificates, which serve as machine identities. Every year, businesses spend $11 billion protecting usernames and passwords, but we're just now getting started protecting machine identities with that same level of investment and urgency. The challenge connected with managing machine identities have become much more complex over the last few years. The physical perimeter is gone with the adoption of cloud, mobile, edge, and IoT devices. Remote work is now routine today, physical security no longer relevant. And so how, in that scenario, do you allow or deny access? Well, identity has become the new perimeter. Our definition of machines has to expand to include all the new technologies found on enterprise networks. containers, clusters, services, and APIs, because all of those require machine identities to communicate securely. Today, organizations need to manage a wide range of machine identities in order to put in place an effective machine identity management strategy that can verify every machine identity, control access to trusted users, to trusted machines, and finally will allow the security teams in the organization to inspect and analyze all activities related to my machine identities in the infrastructure. Human identities are literally the tip of the iceberg in an organization. They represent a fraction of the identities necessary to manage, to confirm, or deny access. The number of people in the world is going to remain relatively flat over the next couple of years, but the number of machines, devices, and applications is exploding. The larger problem in that is that the number of machines is growing at an exponential rate when compared to humans, and all those machines need identities. Again, an enterprise-wide strategy is absolutely critical to ensure that no identities, human or machine, are left unmanaged and unsecured. So, we know now that machine identities are critical assets, and managing them must be a top priority for organizations, but what's at risk if the business gets it wrong? Certificate-related outages. Almost 2/3 of CIOs experienced critical certificate-related outages over the past year, directly impacting the business in a variety of different ways. Many of these are closely related. Impact on business revenue frequently goes hand in hand with customer experience. For example, let's say an outage brings down your e-commerce website. Customers are unable to navigate and browse and purchase products or services, all while that website is offline. Not only does the business lose out on this particular sale or group of sales, but it can potentially leave a negative impact in that customer's mind, leading to a loss in future revenue and the potential that that customer will share this negative experience with friends and colleagues. Additionally, IT cycles must be used to investigate and determine the root cause of the outage. Fixes must be planned and implemented, and processes must evolve and be documented so that something like this does not happen again. And this presents the organization with the second challenge, and that is manual process. Manual processes create bottlenecks. The application teams can be ready to deploy a new application, but first they need a machine identity from security or PKI. This is typically a manual process that involves documented requests, approval workflows, and these requests will often end up on the back burner. Manual processes are accident prone. Humans make mistakes, it's a fact of life. And when thinking about the speed of the ongoing digital transformation, these accidents are going to happen more frequently and become harder to identify, which brings me to the final point, and that is manual processes do not scale. As the business grows, the need for more and more machine identities grows as well. And therefore, organizations using manual processes are going to see existing bottlenecks become even slower, additional bottlenecks being created, and ultimately more misconfigurations due to human error. The bottom line is that organizations need to automate whenever and wherever possible. This integration allows for complete synchronization of all certificates between Venafi and Citrix ADM and puts Citrix administrators back in control of all aspects of the application, including certificates. This enables the security team to set and enforce policy over machine identities used by Citrix managed applications and allows Citrix administrators self-service so that they aren't burdened with approvals or change requests and waiting for process to complete. They can request a new certificate directly from ADM, targeting a specific policy for their application, and get it back instantly for immediate deployment and usage by ADCs. Configuration of the integration is very straightforward. The first step is going to be adding a Venafi server as a third-party CA provider. Each CA provider is able to target a specific policy in the Venafi platform for certificate issuance, as well as a specific device folder where installation information will be provided during provisioning. This ensures that the security teams that are managing the Venafi platform get the visibility that they need about where those machine identities are in use throughout Citrix infrastructure. After configuration and some initial usage, we can see that the SSL certificate dashboard shows all the certificates that are being managed by Venafi, as well as those that remain currently unmanaged, along with all the corresponding metadata of the certificates themselves. This gives users an at-a-glance view of all the machine identities that are important to them, and allows them to take action on those machine identities directly from the Citrix interface. After certificates have been issued and are present within ADM Cloud, the next step is going to be installing the certificates on one or multiple ADC instances. A Citrix ADC application is automatically going to be created back in the Venafi platform, again to ensure that the security team has that full visibility into the issuance and usage of the machine identity. The most important things to take away from this session are this integration between Venafi and Citrix helps organizations by automating machine identity lifecycle and ensures that organizations can prevent costly certificate-based outages. And the integration enables Venafi and Citrix to get complete automation and orchestration of machine identities for all the application and security teams inside an organization. As a thank you for joining me today, Venafi and Citrix would like to offer anyone interested to test out this integration yourselves. If you are already a Venafi user, that first link is for you. If not, that's okay too. The bottom link on this slide will let you try out the integration in a sandbox environment. Oh, and be sure to stop by the Venafi booth where I'll be happy to answer any questions about the integration. Thanks. Have a nice day.